Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get pre-orders of all the upcoming Force of Will sets, as well as releases of previous sets after they come out. TCGPrime.com with over 100,000 Force of Will singles, as well as out-of-print boxes from the past, and TCG accessories, as well as FowlLibrary.com, a wonderful resource for deck lists, article discussions, and more. Check them out at FowlLibrary.com, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer members Vite Ramen and Shukong Fu. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Demo73 here, bringing you the first draft of our Alice Order of Genesis deck. It is the first draft, so it is kind of purely just the basics of what this deck is trying to do, and definitely can be evolved from here. Obviously, we're trying to generate as many different types of Regalia tokens as possible, primarily by flipping, as well as through cards such as Alice Enters the Game of Gods. The order itself generates so much value just on its flip that you almost always have a handful of cards, which gives you a lot of options. Stone deck wise, we are playing 1 Light Magic Stone, 4 Amadeus Holy Crystal, 1 Ragnarok's Fiery Stone, because there's not enough good 1-drop Tails Resonators to justify playing the Tails Stone, and then 4 copies of Six Sage. Obviously, when we transition to Wanderer, I think you can easily transition Six Sage Stone to being Moonshade, and then the rest of the Stone deck probably remains pretty similarly, except you can start playing dual stones to flex things, you know, like White-Black for Dark Alice, as well as White-Blue for Tales of Fantasia, once we get into that environment. Main deck wise, we're playing 2 copies of Arena Expansion Linosfaria because it is an amazing tool to be able to protect your turns and give you a lot of really good options to push through damage because your opponent's stuff just doesn't have enter effects, your opponent's resonators don't have flying, all of those kinds of things to be able to find your lethal. IU 4 copies of Multidimensional Wanderer. She is the big finale win condition of the deck, as well as really good early to be able to set up a lot of ramp, a lot of draw power, and really get your combo pieces kind of set up and protected, as well as generating Regalia that can then be used as ramp, just not only on the turn she comes into play, but in later turns too. 3 copies of Lumia Princess of Rebirth because it's a solid spot removal option, as well as a way to gain life and cantrip. 4 copies of Alice Enters the Game of Gods because this card is great. It being able to blank stuff when you can't hit Arena Expansion, being able to draw a card and generate multiple, another Regalia at instant speed, all kinds of stuff that you can get advantage for. 4 copies of Deep Blue as a main engine to be able to not only generate but protect your Regalia, and the nice fact is that if you order a Deep Blue Soldier, you can then banish it to unorder very quickly, which is nice because there are some order decks that just unfortunately don't have a way to unorder themselves, and so they can get kind of stuck. 4 copies of Flashing Smile because it's an insanely good removal spell in this format, as well as being able to only cost 1 when you use it off of a Regalia. 3 copies of Flute just for some additional ramp. 2 copies of Priscilla Dangerous Duelist. This is just a personal choice because, sometimes ordering it is a way to, have some kind of, I don't want to say, burst, but, a little bit more reach. It is randomized, but because of the fact that it's an enter effect and whenever it deals battle damage to your opponent, and it has Pierce, you can do some pretty cool things with it. 1 copy of Avenger of Amadeus, just as a nice little, hey, gotcha, off of the 2 copies of Tales of Fantasia. I don't go going super hard in on Tales of Fantasia because I think that there's a lot of in this format that can punish trying to cascade these a lot, but it is nice to have just a couple copies in the deck just in case. Obviously, I think in Wanderer this probably goes up because suddenly we start seeing a lot more additions see relevant plays, such as Alice's World, but for right now, just 2 copies works for me. 3 copies of Charlotte Chasing Light, as well as 4 copies of Dark Charlotte for the amount of raw value they generate, being able to discard as well as draw power and pop and keep stuff tapped down. A single copy of Delphinius just as a nice little tech in case we need to be able to give ourselves barrier, or you just need that last little 1000 damage push for lethal, or a nice little board clear. And then lastly, 3 copies of the Tea Party Before the Decisive Duel, because it lets you invest will into other turns and sets up really cool plays with things like instant speed Dark Alice's or Delphinius's that your opponent just might not be expecting. That is the deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Again, this is the first draft. I think 3 Tea Party members is certainly a card that people can consider more. in this list than maybe we initially gave it credit for, something just for you to be considerate of. But overall, I think there's a lot of flexibility in how you can build this deck. This is just kind of our first draft. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, this is DMO73 saying class dismissed.